Thank you. So now we are going to introduce our second guest and main speaker, Steve Bender. Steve is president of the Rotary Club of Newport Beach and director of the Environmental Sustainability Rotary Action Group, SRAG, for the Western North America chapter. This includes about 1,700 Rotary clubs. He's also board of director of the Rotary Climate Action Team. He's CEO and consultant to known corporations and non-profit organizations worldwide on sustainable projects, green building, and affordable housing. Global Partnership Ambassador for the United Nations Association, Orange County, and CEO of Newport Homes. He recently traveled to Ukraine to meet with the International Chamber of Commerce to discuss using green technology for post-war reconstruction efforts and initiatives to use drones for landmine removal from agricultural areas. Steve has led meetings with banks and businesses across 4 continents addressing environmental projects and carbon credit trading. He's the founding director of the U.S. Chamber and a co-founder of the Global Climate Pledge Program, now in almost 100 countries. As the CEO of the Sea-to-Sky Solutions, his influence extends globally with strategic partners and offices in Newport Beach, Bangkok, Mexico City, Panama, and Taiwan. Consultant for various environmental initiatives such as Oceans Week in Mexico, EarthX, and the Seven Seas Initiative. He is the founder of the Rotary Reef Project, emphasizing his dedication to oceans, island nations, and coastal communities. Welcome, Steve. Thank you for coming. He drove all the way here. He'll tell you about it.
Thank you so much. Oh. Great, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. This is a dynamic club. I love some of your speakers and want to talk to quite a few of you after this. This is my favorite saying. I joined Rotary about 15 years ago, and I joined Rotary to change the world, and it changed me. I joined Rotary to make the world a better place, and Rotary made me a better person. I think anybody who does a lot of programs with Rotary would agree that they fall into that category.
Coral reefs are truly the heart of our oceans. They provide shelter to marine life and protect our shores. Coral reefs, they support 25% of all marine species. Coral reefs are also vital to sustainable fishing and coastal communities worldwide. Over 500 million people depend on reefs for food, income, and protection. With over 800 different species of coral, reefs provide over $400 billion in economic value by protecting our coasts and coastal communities. They are nature's buffer for waves, storms, floods, and erosion. And so, internationally, fish stocks have been significantly reduced and exploited while coral reef coverage has declined by roughly 50%. With predictions of up to 90% loss by 2050. In the Caribbean, these numbers are more drastic. However, coral seed banks help rebuild what's been lost. Much like the fertilization of flowers, coral seed and eggs are released where they mix and fertilize and grow into larvae. Then, after a few days or weeks, return to the reef to settle and grow. Working with regional government leaders, mayors, village representatives, and community members has created paid training apprentice programs specific to ocean sustainability. Apprentices are working to become local entrepreneurs and employers to artificial suppliers for future Rotary Reef installation projects. RotaryReefs.org not only works to create new reefs, but to also protect the reefs we do have by helping to reduce the amount of chemicals, plastics, overfishing, and invasive species. RotaryReefs.org is breathing new life into areas believed to be irreparably damaged. Yet while these locals work to save their reefs and coastal front lines, saving the ocean starts with you. Join the Rotary Reef Project. Please help protect coral reefs for generations to come. Get involved. Visit RotaryReef.org.
Okay, that's a thing that some people just put together last week. You guys are the second club that's seen this video. So this is a video that I'm going to probably rush through because we're tight on time. I was honored by past President Mark Maloney. This was won the second best project in the world for SRAG a few years ago. That's at our convention in Dallas. I'm going to run through this real quick. I spoke at the Novato Club a couple days ago, and they sponsored one of these reefs, and the San Mateo Club sponsored another one. And I just wanted to show them what their reefs look like. I do want to let you know that before we set these, there's absolutely nothing in there, and so there's no fish. It was overfished community, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to run through this real quick. This is one that's set like a few months ago versus some of the ones that have been there for a year. You just tell how much difference it is with the marine life, the sponges. You can't see, but there's millions and millions of them. So it's really making a difference in a community that was overfished. I'm going to keep going through real quick. So how did I start this? About 14 years ago, I was with an organization that approached me to help a group in Kondla, South Africa, called the Africa Project. And at the time, there were 20,000 people dying per year from AIDS. It's the highest concentration of AIDS in the world. And I was doing some research and came upon something I'd never heard before. It's called the virgin cure, where if they rape a virgin, they think it cures AIDS. And so this doesn't obviously cure AIDS. I was very emotional at the time. I think my nieces were 15. They're 30 now, yeah. So I said, I'm not going to send you a check. I'll send you a solution. I said, what would it take to fund a counselor to teach the people here about AIDS and transmission of AIDS? And they go, it's not that much, just there's nobody there. There's no place to put them. We're huts and straw things. So at the time, I was volunteering at Anaheim High School teaching high school students green building skills. And so I approached the teacher and I said, if I pay for the box and help the students, can we get our Interact students to make a health clinic for South Africa? And the teacher said yes. And so this is we call it a doc in the box. This was long before people started using these things for stuff, because I was one of the first ones. So this is the inside of a 20-foot shipping container. And then this is the high school class that built it, our Interact Club. So they learn building skills, but also they learn philanthropy. And I could speak an hour on just some of the things that these kids have gone on to do, starting with this box. So after I did that, I was in a lot of newspapers and TV in Los Angeles, and so USC approached me to design a dental box for USC dental school, which I did. And we were doing about $1 million of free dental in Southern California a year. But once a year, we would go and do a third world country. And we used Rotaract students. I started a Rotaract club, a community-based Rotaract club, not a school-based, at USC Dental School. And so we had about 70 dental students that we would do, once a month we would do a free dental clinic. And then once a year, they'd get a scholarship. If they volunteered all 12 times, that would pay their way to go to India, Thailand, Cambodia, all over the world. And then we were supposed to go to Panama one year. And I always go 2 days early to get the compressor and the distilled water and things all ready to go. And so then I have an advanced team of 7 students come in 2 days. And then on the third day, everybody else comes and we do 4 days of clinic. I landed in Bocas del Toro Airport. They closed the airport for 4 months for COVID. And so I was stranded there with 4 suitcases full of dental gel, toothbrushes, and toothpaste, and I'm not a dentist. So I started kind of coming up with things to do to help the community. Don't strand a Rotarian on an island because stuff will happen. So anyway, this is a dental clinic I set up with there were pigs in here the day before. We cleaned this up, and we just set this up to get to apply fluoride treatment to the kids there. And this is grown. We've done other ones. This is a device I invented that is battery operated that it can dry kids' teeth out so we can properly seal them. We can't teach the kids not to drink soda or the parents not to buy it, but we can at least seal it and do the best we can. Okay. Then we do oral hygiene. What I'm trying to get at is our program is just not about Rotary Reefs, but it's about helping the whole community. This is the governor of Bocas del Toro. This was one of my first Rotaract. She was a Rotaract student 11 years ago. She's gone on since to start her own nonprofit, and she'll be taking a group of Rotarians this May down to treat the kids in Bocas del Toro. So we've taught a whole group of students about philanthropy and Rotary. And one thing about a college Rotaract versus a community-based Rotaract is they never leave if there's stuff to do. So where they leave after 4 years in college, I say you can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave. It's 9 years. So then some of them developed sugar boards to help educate students or kids and parents on how much sugar's in their drinks. Okay, so I'm stranded in Bocas del Toro. I've got nothing to do. I'm a PADI certified diver, and I dive one day. There's not much coral reefs. There's not much fish, except there's this invasive fish called a lionfish. I'm sure you guys have all heard about it. So I said, what can I do? So I got all the fishermen in the area to come together to form a group, and we taught them about catching lionfish. And we got an agreement with the restaurants to pay $4.99 a pound, which is the same as yellowfin tuna. And any restaurant that would serve lionfish 1 day a week, we would give them free advertising on a local radio station and TV. So fast forward a year later, they've approached me. They say, we need freezers and motors. I go, why? I go, there's no more lionfish in the area. I said, mission accomplished. Now we just need to teach the other communities to do the same thing. So I was, once again, I'm nothing to do on a desert island or on a small island. And I had been to a preserve in Costa Rica that had great green macaws. And I asked, I was looking around, I go, why aren't they here? They said, well, they've cut down all the trees. The mountain almendro is a special tree that's needed for the great green macaw to breed. They chew it up and feed it to their babies. And he says, well, they cut down all the trees. I said, okay, how long does it take a macaw or an almendro tree to fruit? I said, 8 years. This was in 2020. I said, so in 2028 we could get some fruiting. I said, yeah, but you couldn't do it. I said, the next month I had 1,000 planted. Since then I've got 12,000 planted. And we've got places that are building aviaries to breed them in 2028. So reintroduce a species in 2030 to Panama that's been extinct. So one of our things is we take volunteers down there to do dental, but then after the dental clinic is over, we plant trees a day. And so this is a group of all dentists and hygiene students that we call the Tree Project. This is them planting not just the almendros, which are important. We work with the government to replant all natural hardwoods that were cut down in the last 40 years to make it bring it back to normal. Then we go on the 5th day, we go to coral reef restoration, where we created seed banks, which we are licensed to take coral out of the water and protect them. And so as the coral gets, the water gets warmer and more alkaline, we're actually protecting species. And so we'll keep this going for as long as possible. Actually, this year we're going to raise money to buy a bigger solar system so we don't have to run the pumps on propane generators. And this is these are all Rotaractors. 32. She's 32. She's 36, and they joined when they were 18. So it tells you a little bit about our program. We don't let them go. This is actually coral that has been cut out, and it's actually specifically species. So we're actually saving certain species of the coral. This is what we're going to design. We're going to set in May. Actually, this is a better picture where we've taken all what we've learned this year or last 3 years, and we've designed a new system that'll be 200 feet round. It'll be the largest rotary reef system in the world, and it'll be based on with 7 legs, 7 different arms representing the 7 areas of focus. Then this year, we're starting a big project on plastic. Tonight, actually, we have a meeting on for global grants. We're going to be starting the first river cleanup project in Guatemala this summer. It says by 2050, plastics will outweigh fish in the seas. I was in a meeting this morning with Guatemala, and they said that they're finding medical plastic trash in Honduras from a hospital in Guatemala. So we're working with a company outside of Helsinki called River Recycle to actually take the river out, or plastic out of the river, turn it into boards, and actually be a sustainable project. It also employs indigenous community. Again, this is just more about that. These are our targets for, so we're going to do Guatemala in 25, Tijuana River in 26, and then this is a list of rivers that we're going to try to take that same model and share with people in the future of which ones we want to attack. And we'll work the bugs out of the system, and then we'll share it with others. And I think we spoke about a river project here. I like to tell you guys about what I'm doing, but I also like to listen to what you're doing. So I was at a speech last year in San Diego, and they said we really need help on the Tijuana River project. Well, over the last 12 months, I've met with congressmen from Mexico and Dubai, lots of people from both sides of the border, and I'll be speaking February 4th, launching the Tijuana River project. So I look forward to coming back here next year and hopefully helping with, you guys do this. One other thing is I do a conference every year in Dallas. It's called the Rotary Experience, where we get a lot of clubs coming. It's just talking, sharing ideas on Rotary clubs and Rotary projects. So if you guys, anybody here has a project that they'd like to showcase for 5 minutes on stage, it'll also be televised and be available on EarthX TV. So be happy to put you guys in if anybody has a project. I had Mark Maloney, I gave him an award 2 years ago because he's actually was the president of RI that was in place when Rotary Environment became the 7th area service. So I recognized him 2 years ago for that. We have another thing that your speech about how we're divided that really hits home with us. We have a thing called Democracy in a Box where we're teaching students about misinformation, disinformation, and civics and conversation about, most of us all, 70% of the country all get along. It's 15 and 15 that don't. And so this is a project we do. I won't get involved with that too much. One thing, we just talked about Ukraine. I was there last year dodging drones in Mykolaiv and Odessa. We were working on a project to remove landmines from vineyards in Odessa. And I also took our district or conference, we assembled the prosthetic hands. So I took 300 over there and taught people how to give them to children who've lost their hands picking up landmines. And so I was in Poland working with the International Chamber of Commerce on rebuilding Ukraine green. And so that'll be a project like no other. If you think about it, it'll be bigger than the Marshall Plan. So, and one more thing, and this is my last slide. We're doing an Impossible Things workshop in Madeira, March 17th and 19th. There's 10 openings. If you're interested in doing it, it's free to the 10 people chosen. There'll be 20 people, big high-end people that are going to be speaking, but we're going to choose 10 people that might just think outside the box to help us come up with problems for solutions for problems with deep sea mining, pollution, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Oh, one other thing, I'll give this to the president. We're working with Rotary clubs in Mexico and reef organizations there. We came up with an ocean blend of coffee. And so anybody who donates $125 to our Rotary Reef program, we give them a nice package of coffee, which I'll be presenting to your president here too. You guys appreciate coffee up here, I've understood. So Thank you so much. I think that was my last slide. Yes.
Wonderful. I'm on 30 there. Wonderful, Steve. Making the impossible possible. We have time for some questions. And I can't thank you enough. I see Dan, go ahead.
Oh,
Oh, question. Dr. Shannon.
Question.
A fellow.
Yeah, when you part of your presentation was being in Africa and helping with the HIV that was going on down there. I did a report. I can't remember. It was like 2013 or something like that. Did you happen to find a correlation between tuberculosis and HIV out there?
okay. First of all, I did not go to Africa.
Okay.
I designed it and we shipped the
Okay.
container to Africa. So I didn't do research, but I've got a great story. The government confiscated our container at the port, and they needed $12,000 in 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I bet 12 friends $1,000 each. I couldn't swim from Alcatraz to San Francisco, and I did it, and I'll never do it again. Shannon.
Any projects going on fall, summer, further, and need a person who speaks Indonesian?
Great question. Well, we will be expanding the Rotary Reef project to Indonesia, as well as there's a lot of plastic issues in Indonesia. Plastic is really, I think they say that we all have a credit card sized amount of plastic in our bodies, and I think it's probably more than that. Yes.
Hi, I'm Faye Anderson, member since 2018, manufacturing pet products. I have a question. There are a few companies, actually. My company is EnviroStar's member, and we are sustainable, making products for pets and humans from sustainable materials. And Reprieve and also Polartec and many other companies that we use, they have recycled products made of plastic, and Reprieve actually. Are you familiar with them? Do you do any work with them? Thank you.
Great question. A lot of companies are coming online right now to do stuff with plastics. Some good, some bad. When I first met the people from River Recycle, it was an ocean conference in Portugal about 4 years ago. I learned that most of the plastics we export to India and other places, they will go dump them next to a river, and they will pay children to walk through the trash and collect just the plastics that they can use, and they throw what they can't use into the river. So by what we think we're doing a good job, we're actually hurting. And so one of the things with this River Recycle, they pick everything up and they make it into boards. And then they are approaching IKEA and some other companies. But I know of companies on the East Coast that are doing outdoor furniture. A lot of companies are starting to do that. Yes.
Steve, thank you for your presentation. Our president yesterday signed an executive order that the United States will leave the Paris Climate Accords. Any comments?
I better not. What can I say?
Thank you very much for your talk. It was great. My name is Michael Leff, a retired surgeon, joined Rotary in '98. My question is concerning the coral reefs. I think that's a great thing you're doing to grow new ones, but one of the big problems, especially in Australia with the Great Barrier Reef, is the environment, the milieu around those reefs is what's killing them. So how does your project fit in with that?
Great question. And this is new. This is uncharted territory. We're destroying the planet in ways we never thought possible before. Some corals doing some good in some areas. We're pulling some coral out in 89, 90 degrees that's thriving to save the species. We're also fighting against stony coral disease, but we just found the drugs we use in dental, amoxicillin, we can make into a gel and put it on with like a chalk gun, and it'll stop the spread of stony coral on brain coral. So what we're just trying to do is we're trying to buy time till we can solve a solution. And every year, we've saved thousands of species and a little different, DNA breakdown of coral. We don't know what next year's going to bring. We don't know what 5 years is going to bring, but that doesn't mean we don't want to stop it. We don't want to not do anything, because if we don't do anything, we're going to lose the coral. If we lose the ocean, when the ocean dies, we die. So.
Great. Steve, thank you very much. We'll have to cut it there, folks. Know if you can stay around, then probably have some more questions. But before you go, we have something for you. I'm going to put that right there. Steve, first of all, gesture of appreciation, we've donated 3/4 ton of food to Harvest Against, in your honor, I should say, to Harvest Against Hunger. Now, Harvest Against Hunger is a Northwest Rotary-led effort to address food insecurity. I also have, you may have seen during the meeting, we had that wonderful park right behind us here. That's a park we built in this club. And we have a mug commemorating that park, but it also is there to remind you that every day you're an inspiration with multiple impacts you make in the world. Thank you. Thank you so much.
May I give you something?
And we'll do it later. We'll grab a picture. There. I'm already. Thank you, Steve. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Give Steve a round.